These are some frequently asked questions regarding California legislative committee hearings. Do supermajority vote bills have to pass out of committee by that supermajority vote? No, all bills require only a majority vote in committee for passage, regardless of whether there's a higher vote threshold that's specified by the Office of Legislative Counsel. In other words, the higher vote requirement for a measure only applies on the floor of the Senate or the Assembly. Can a committee pass a bill based upon a majority of the committee members present and voting? No, the majority vote requirement applies to the full membership of the committee. In other words, if there are 9 members on a committee, 5 votes are obviously required to pass a bill, even if only, say, 7 members are voting on the bill due to abstentions or an absence from that hearing. Do committees have to provide public notice when setting a bill for hearing? Yes. Absent a rule waiver, Joint Rule 62A says that any bill to be heard in the first committee must be noticed in the daily file for at least 4 days, including weekend days, and for a second committee hearing must be given a daily file notice of at least 2 days. Is the daily file notice for all committee hearings the same? No. As set forth in Joint Rule 62A, each bill in the first committee of reference must be noticed in the daily file for 4 days prior to the committee hearing. At a second or even a third committee of reference, a notice of only 2 days in the daily file is required, again absent a joint rule waiver. Do the joint rules related to committee deadlines apply to all the committees? This is the general rule. However, the Rules Committees are exempt from the deadlines pursuant to Joint Rule 61F. Can any committee establish a suspense file for bills? In the Assembly, only the Appropriations Committee and Revenue and Taxation Committee may establish a suspense file, and this is pursuant to Assembly Rule 58.2b. Can a chair preside at a committee hearing on a bill for which he or she is the author? Under Assembly Rule 60, a chair cannot preside where he or she is the sole or lead author of a bill. However, Assembly Rule 60 does not apply to the Budget Committee chair when the hearings on the budget bill of which he or she is the author. Are the Appropriations Committees in the Assembly and Senate conducted in the same manner? Regarding their suspense files, the Assembly votes to pass a bill or announce which bills are held on suspense, while the Senate only votes on bills it will pass off of the suspense file. What types of hearings can a committee hold? Committees in the California Legislature can conduct several different types of hearings, including bill hearings, investigative hearings, or oversight hearings, as well as informational hearings. What is the purpose of a committee's informational hearing? They're generally used to gather information about the subject matter of the designated hearing, often in preparation for consideration of legislation on that topic in the future. The chair, members, and staff generally come up with the subject matter of these informational hearings. What do the joint rules provide regarding informational hearings? Joint Rule 60 deals with committee hearings. Subdivision B specifically provides that a committee may hear the subject matter of a bill or convene for an informational hearing during a period of recess. What's the purpose of a committee's oversight or investigative hearing? These hearings are generally held because there's concern about how a program is being administered or regarding a law and how it's being interpreted or enforced. Some distinguish oversight from investigative hearings, wherein there may be an allegation of wrongdoing by a public official in an investigative hearing. What do the Assembly rules provide regarding oversight or investigating hearings? Assembly Rule 11.5 specifies in Subdivision A that the standing committees of the Assembly are hereby constituted as Assembly investigating committees, and they're authorized and directed to conduct oversight hearings and to ascertain, study, and analyze all facts relating to any subjects or matters which the Committee on Rules shall assign to them upon request of the Assembly or upon its own initiative. Now, what do the Senate rules provide regarding oversight or investigating hearings. Here, Senate Rule 16 provides for general powers of standing committees, and it provides each standing committee of the Senate to which a proposed law or bill is assigned has full power and authority during the session of the legislature or any recess to make an investigation and study concerning any proposed law or bill as the committee shall determine necessary in order to enable it to properly act upon it. What do the joint rules provide regarding oversight or investigative hearings? Joint Rule 36 provides for investigating committees. That rule specifies that in order to expedite the work of the legislature, either house or both houses jointly may by resolution or statute provide for the appointment of committees to ascertain facts and to make recommendations regarding any subject within the scope of regulation, authority, or control. And finally, what's the purpose of a committee's confirmation hearing? They're generally only held by the state Senate, except for those rare instances when both houses of the legislature consider a gubernatorial appointment to a constitutional office. Confirmation hearings are conducted by the Senate Committee on Rules to provide so-called advice and consent on any gubernatorial appointments that are made.